Past 10. Those present are Terry Harris, Dan Hudson, Matty Gregg, Don Enright, and Joanne and Mary. Those not present is Matt Doobie and Alderman O'Brien. Right? I think that's it. First item on the agenda is the minutes of the February 3rd meeting. Hopefully everybody had a chance to look at it. Does anybody have any questions or amendments? Okay, if not, is there a motion to accept the minutes of the February 3rd, 2025 meeting?
So moved.
Okay, I forget, do we take a second here? Yeah, I think we do.
I have to abstain. That was-
Lisa? Second.
I second.
Terry.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Abstain.
And one abstention. Personnel, we had a retirement death benefit, Mr. Starr. And it appears his spouse is getting the funds. He was only here about 5 years. Sure everybody looked at it. Kind of sad. I don't know, but
Very
it looked
sad.
like he's around my age. So, anyways, does anybody have any questions on that? If not, is there a motion to accept the retirement death benefit?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
Sorry. You can do it.
Okay. All those are in favor, please say yes.
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 Against? That motion carries. Old business, update ordinance changes for IRS. I don't think I'm gonna email Dory today or tomorrow and find out what's going on.
Okay.
We need to really get that in. Then we have the RFP for trustee of trust fund services. You wanna talk about that, Dawn?
Sure.
Kinda go with the
So we
meeting.
had our first meeting of the complete board of the trustee of trust funds last Wednesday with the swearing in of David Fredette and Kristen Kane. Kristen Kane is a representative from the library trustees. So we went through, what did we go through? We ended up going through a draft investment policy. And we're looking at the different segregations of the investments for each of the areas. BPW pension is listed separately. The initial thought that was proposed, because this is just a draft, I came up with the draft, now it's in the committee's hands to review, and they're gonna be giving me input as to what they would like to see changed in the investment policy. Right now, it's stated that we would invest 0 to 10% in cash, 30 to 50% in fixed income, and 50 to 70% in equities. We're looking for the larger amount in equities because that is going to help with long-term growth in the portfolio. So that is what has been recommended. We will be talking about it at the next meeting, which is next Wednesday on the 5th. I believe that's the date on the 5th. Some of the other things that were discussed is investment holding guidelines, things that are being recommended to not invest in, unregistered or restricted stocks, commodities, private placement, debt, conditional sales contracts, uncovered options, sales, so forth and so on. Two of the items that were listed were tobacco stock and alcoholic stock. Those two are actually being recommended to be taken from the restrictions. So there'll be more discussion on it. So once we have a approved investment policy from the full board, we will bring it back here to this board for review. and recommendations. Actually, I will send out the draft copy to the board now for review if you think you would like it, or if you would rather wait until we have the approved one from the board. What would people prefer?
Approved one?
Okay, we'll
Probably.
wait for the approved one so that all the changes that are being recommended are in it. This investment policy is going to be dated and will be updated yearly, reviewed yearly by the trustee of trust funds. That being said, because it's in its infancy, this process is in its infancy, we will be reviewing it on a quarterly basis and making sure that everything is growing and performing in the manner in which we intended them to grow. And we will be reporting back to each of the boards, the pension board here, of the returns and what's happening. Quarterly, the financial institution that is ultimately selected quarterly, they will be giving us a presentation, just like we get right now from RBC. And it's a public meeting, so these board members that have been deeply involved with RBC and following all of that, more than welcome to come if you want to come and hear what they have to say about the investments and where they see the trends going and so forth. You don't have to, because we will always come back and report here what the outcome has been. Okay? So then the next thing that we did is we had the purchasing manager at the meeting, and she went through what the process would look like as we went through the RFP. And we have some proposal verbiage and an evaluation form in which we would be using to evaluate the financial institutions. So that's what we did there. And then the last thing that we did is we talked about the vendor lists that we would recommend that the RFP be submitted to what institutions. The first thing we did is we included all of the institutions that we currently utilize for all of the trust funds and the pension. So RBC is on this list. One of the requirements in the RFP is going to be that it provides us with MS 9 and 10 reporting, state reporting. Some of these institutions that we currently work with probably do not provide that, but with the size of the portfolio, which is going to be upwards of about $130 million that we will be that we would be investing with them, who knows what these financial institutions are going to come up with. I believe that we may be setting a trend, and they might actually be considering making some of the changes that are required by the state to accommodate our RFP. So more to come. So RBC is on here. We're also going to be, the list includes TD Bank, Citizens, Clarfeld Wealth Management, Raymond James, Boston Advisors, RBC Wealth Management, Cambridge Trust. We're all going to be adding Edward Jones, Fidelity, and Schwab. We're trying to include anybody that's local that does investing, because, as always, we want to try to stimulate our local economy. So our timeline, the initial timeline that we had, we're looking to start the conversion on June 1st. So with that, we do feel like we're still going to be able to meet that timeline. In the timeline, we have the RFP submittal April 2nd, and then getting everything back, and between May 12th to the 16th, possibly having interviews of the one or two candidates that come to the top. As I stated, all of these meetings will be public meetings, so if anybody has interest, they're welcome. Then on May 21st, there will be the final selection of the institution choose, with looking at a June 1st conversion start. With investments, obviously, we don't want to lose any money, so we would be working between the institutions. We'd probably have RBC for a while, because if there's something that isn't going to mature, we're not going to have them close it out and take a loss, so. So it's going to be a process. I think over the next year, it's probably going to take a while before we get fully converted. Any questions?
I asked this question, when would this board have to vote to go with this new system?
March 5th is the review. When would they have to vote to go? They already approved. I don't know if we've,
I couldn't find
Mary,
the
could you
minutes.
find, do you know if we?
I sent David the minutes, and I didn't see where there was a vote.
Okay,
It
so
was discussed a lot, but there was
it was
never a vote.
discussed, and it was pretty unanimous that everyone was for it, so I guess we'd probably need a motion to approve.
I guess I would just question, what are we approving? My recollection was the city was gonna go through an RFP selection process, pick somebody, come to us and say, yes, we agree to go with that entity or not, or stay with where we are with our
Okay.
current manager. So that's how I understood the process was gonna go. Maybe I'm wrong, but, so I don't know what we're voting for. I mean, I think we all generally approved of going through an RFP process, and
Okay,
Already, yeah.
clearly there's a need to develop an investment policy and all these other things that are underway, so it's all great, but,
yep.
um,
So maybe we're looking for an approval to be involved in the RFP process for a selection of a potential, I don't know.
yeah, I mean,
I think we did that, didn't we?
Did we? I mean, I know David's a representative, right? He's
Yeah,
part of the trustee of trust funds.
yes.
So, I mean, we kind of have a representative by de facto. I don't know if others seek additional representation, but,
No, I think the investment policy you have there you have different ones based on, I think, don't you, or if I remember right?
The policy,
Or it
it's,
includes really what we kind of follow ourselves right now.
yes, yeah, the policy, I took a lot of the verbiage from the current investment policies that we utilize throughout the city, and as I stated, we have library, Woodlawn Cemetery, Edgewood Cemetery, city, trust funds and capital reserves, and DPW. So we have different sections so that we can make sure that we're getting the return and the growth on the different areas as the pension has been receiving. But the rest of the policy, the asset allocations, is the really only one that segregates out what's happening with BPW pension. They're all going to be treated similarly, but the way the investments are can be different weights. Does that make any sense?
Does, yeah.
Yeah, it's 50 to 70 for, isn't that what it was? 50 to,
30, yeah, 50 to 70 for equities.
that's what we have now, I believe.
Yep, yep, yep. I tried to
Yeah,
go
it's very
with,
similar to what we have in our own, right?
right, right. And once again, the goal is to get lower fees and continue the great return that we've been getting or improve on it.
Mhm.
That's the goal. And keep the fund solid for the retirements, of course.
So I think that's enough for now.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, if you need a vote, we can vote on that, but I think we've already kind
No,
of
I-
decided that was the direction we were gonna go, so,
Yes.
yep,
I mean, I wasn't here at the beginning of this when you guys were talking about it.
yeah.
yep,
Yeah, I think that's fine.
okay. Okay.
Any other thing, Dawn, or
Any other questions?
question?
That's where we are, and as I stated, you know, the next thing is March 5th. We will have the finalized investment policy. Mary, when is our meeting in March? When would it be?
Well, it's typically the last Monday, so
Yeah.
that would be, let me see here, last Monday.
The one thing that I would recommend is maybe we try to meet the middle of the month instead of the end of the month, so we can review the policy that comes out on the 5th, because we are looking to do an RFP submittal around April 2nd.
Yeah, our last
So I
town
would
meeting
hate
in
to-
March is March 31.
Right, so I would hate to cut it that close. If we have some major changes that we would like to make, I want to have time to be able to make those changes and then vet it with the trustee of trust funds. So that would mean, so let's keep that in mind when
Yeah.
we look at the calendar at the end.
That might be a good time to switch over to the Thursday we were talking about.
Right, we were
Should be the
talking
27th.
about changing the date anyways.
Okay,
One is on a Mondays.
okay,
The Mondays are hard for me sometimes because I have another meeting at noon.
yep,
So,
Mondays are hard anyway.
so
In general.
we'll get
In-
back to you,
in
on-
general.
we'll get back to everybody on that for sure.
Yep, okay.
We'll work on some date. It sounds like you'd like to have the first, this one though, maybe a couple weeks before the first, is that what you're saying? The first is that what you said, April 1st, I thought you said?
No, April 2nd is when the,
Oh, well,
April 2nd is when the
Yeah, that's
investment policy's going to, I mean, the finalized investment policy and the RFP will be submitted. That's when the trustee of trust funds has scheduled for that approval. So I would like to meet
yeah,
after March 5th, but before April 2nd.
right. Okay, we'll see what we can get.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
All right, let's see, what's next? Okay, pension training, I don't know if that's, they came, well, they discussed it a couple months ago.
Yeah, we did, and actually, the first that I'd seen of this email was to Joanne about Mark's ask for scheduling some dates,
Oh, okay.
so I think that, did you get a chance to talk to him about that, or,
No,
no?
we need dates to talk to him.
Yeah, well, I don't think I can make that determination for the organization. I think there would probably have to be somebody in here that would work with, gosh, I don't know. Who should we work with on that to,
Was that dates for a discussion with them or a date for actual training?
training,
Must be-
actual
training.
board
Actual training?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd have to be coordinated with the director.
Yeah, the director and probably the superintendents or something.
Yeah.
Make
Okay.
sure. We'll set up.
Do you want me to
something.
just take this to Lisa? I mean, I could do that, or we can.
Yeah, it should be, I mean, it should be post-winter season here, obviously, so.
Yeah,
Exactly.
We're getting there, but.
It's a little busy right now.
Probably April, May timeframe.
Okay.
Would be
Yeah,
my
I
guess.
would say May.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take this to Director Photo.
All right. Um,
Thanks, Joanne, by the way.
Do you have a meeting this week with the board itself, the board?
Yeah.
Okay. The next item is Mr. Dan Toomey. We, as, I think, I don't know if I thought I did, but we did meet with his wife and children about the concern we have.
Yeah.
And we talked and emailed the attorney in Manchester, and also we met with Attorney Bolton. So Alderman, Mr. Bolton is supposed to, I keep saying Alderman, he was an Alderman once, but anyways, he's supposed to write up an amendment to the ordinance, and then that would have to be reviewed by here, it would have to be reviewed by the attorney in Manchester, and this board would have to vote on it first before it went anywhere else.
Okay.
To try to correct, I don't know if that's the right word, correct, or adjust that problem that we had.
Adjust, yeah.
So unfortunately, it's there, that hasn't got started yet, the writing of the ordinance change. So I'll just keep asking this week when that's gonna happen. I don't think it should take that long to do, but
So it does require an ordinance change and not necessarily something that the board can?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
It does.
okay.
And we might even have to, all of us should talk to the attorney in Manchester too, or maybe prior to voting on it. Some people still have some concerns, but
Hmm.
the meeting went well, but
Yep.
that could change very easily, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of information around it that we'll have to inform everyone about going forward if the language is changed,
Mhm.
how it could portray, because there's a lot to think about before we change it, so.
But she is
But we
getting
will
her
share all that.
first- I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt.
We will
Sorry.
share all of that information and the analysis behind it as to what, all the different scenarios of what could happen, so that we can make an informed decision and make sure we're making the right decision.
Right.
But Mrs. Toomey, she is starting to receive her pension payments now at the 50%, so.
Okay.
And she's aware that that's what it was going to be, is the 50% as it's stated in the guidelines now. And she does know that we are exploring a possible change to the verbiage, so.
Would that change affect her, or is she kind of now grandfathered into what she's getting?
The change that we are looking to propose is to retroactive it back to possibly December 1st. That is kind of what we're looking at. So it potentially could include her, and we did explain that, and if it did change, she would get retroactive pay from the date she started receiving.
But right now, it started on January 1st for her, is that?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. So it's that 1 month that she would be affected by, okay.
yeah. Actually, she will receive her first check March 1st.
I don't know that we got in for that deadline.
Okay,
I have to check.
But she
it'll be
is getting
retro to January
the
1st.
checks.
Got it.
For January,
I thought
February.
I thought, well, let's check that out, because I thought she was gonna get her first check in early March.
It depends on how long it took her to get the paperwork back to Hooker and Holcomb, and,
They had all the paperwork, didn't they?
There was another package that went out for her, because the package that they had was his paperwork.
Hmm.
yeah.
Can you find out if that,
I can look into it, yeah. I think it should be all set for March 1st, but I can't 100% say that, yes, it is.
well. if we
But she's in
find out.
communication with Hooker and Holcomb,
Right.
so.
She is, okay.
And I assume she received her life insurance payment?
That's a separate.
That's
issue.
separate, that's through
We're
the
not privy
city,
to that.
so I don't know if she received it.
Okay.
I don't have that information. I mean, it can,
That is,
That goes through the city itself, you know, but.
and just.
yeah, okay, I don't know anything about that. I just know that that's currently part of the policy too, so like,
Yep,
Mhm.
I would assume she would have received that by now.
Yeah, I don't.
HR was working with her
Okay,
on
good.
that, helping her get that done.
and it's a third party that she's working with, so
Okay, good.
you don't know.
Okay, nothing else on that. I'll go to new business. Approval of distribution of funds for the period of October 1, 2025 to October 31. Why are we still in our?
Because we're behind,
Huh?
we're behind.
We are behind, not them.
Correct.
No, us,
Oh,
me.
okay. Wait, as the report reflects, I'm not sure if you guys go through the current month or in the year-to-date or just the year-to-date, but I'll say the year-to-date. The monthly benefit payments to October is $1,290,147.19. Lump sum payments is $43,669.70. Beneficiary payments are $6,000. And then it reflects the funds through equities and fixed income. And so for the total period, it's $1,450,521.72 through the end of October.
So point of information.
Yeah.
So that's the year-to-date, but we're approving the October which is listed under the current
The
month,
current month.
right?
Yeah.
It's year-to-date as of October.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that, but
Okay.
in
You report,
in approving
yeah.
the disbursement of funds, we're approving October's disbursement of funds, not
Not the
year-to-date
year-to-date.
funds, right? Because we
Correct.
approved
Yeah.
September last meeting.
Yes.
Okay, so we're approving the $378,491.41.
Yeah.
I would move to approve.
Really quickly, sorry,
Go ahead.
sorry to lose the momentum. The pension administration services, I think I normally see 10,000 in there related to a Hooker and Holcomb charge. Or am I wrong? Am I imagining that?
It depends what the charges are for, which I don't remember, but I can look in to see what that is. But yeah, their quarterly invoice or whatever is usually around that amount.
Okay, yeah, because I'm looking at just at the year-to-date, which I know we're not approving it, but I'm looking at 796.53 for a year-to-date, which
Mhm.
for me would seem like it would be larger than that.
We wouldn't have paid that quarterly invoice yet,
Okay,
as of October 31st.
okay. Then that's the reason, thank you.
Yep. Because they give it to us, and then sometimes I get it like 2 days after this meeting, and we have to wait a whole month to come to the meeting to have it get approved.
Got it,
So there's a delay in paying that.
okay.
We're not allowed to do it on email anymore.
It's a whole other
Okay.
question for you, but I'll skip that until later.
So that was moved by Dan and seconded by Matt.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, that motion carries. Then we have an invoice from the attorney in Manchester, mostly related to the issue we were just talking about prior. And as you know, attorneys are expensive.
Yeah.
So that amount is $2,690.
So moved.
Yep. Seconded by Lisa, right?
Terry?
No? If any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that motion carries. And then, well, we had trustee of trust funds on the bottom of this, but you kind of, I think,
Yeah.
discussed it already, I believe. All right, so the most important thing is we got to come up with a date for the next meeting
Yep.
within that time frame.
Yep.
Oh,
I was just going to inquire, I know we had talked about doing a mailing to
yes, that
to
was-
our members.
Yeah, I can check. I
benefit mailing.
told him it was okay because it came in under the $1,000
Right.
that we had talked about. I will check with him to see where they are on that.
Is that a good number? I mean, can we make a motion like not to exceed $1,000 and, so that it can happen before our next
think-
meeting?
Didn't we? I
We
thought we
already-
already did.
Did we
Yeah.
make them, I thought we stopped short of, maybe I missed the last meeting actually, or I don't know. I don't remember if an actual motion was made. I remember we talked about it and then we needed to get some pricing, so I don't remember if that happened. Is that in the minutes from the last meeting?
I actually don't think there was a motion. I think it was
Yeah.
just discussed and said.
But they already know it, and it is under 1,000, right?
Yeah, it came in at like 700, I
We
think.
told them to do it this year, so.
We need to, don't we need to approve that? That's not part of their current contract, right?
It's
true.
not.
No. So you want to make that motion then?
Yeah, I would make a motion to approve an annual summary of benefits, or whatever the proper title would be, to membership, so that each member receives via postal mail a summary of their benefits, an annual summary of their benefits, at a cost not to exceed $1,000.
Second.
Second, yeah.
Okay. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, and that motion carries. And like Joanne said, she's already talked to them. I saw the emails, so,
So that is
Hopefully that-
forthcoming?
yeah.
Okay,
It should
great.
be in process. I can find out.
That's perfect.
You may know before we are. Because
I
you're
don't think
one
I've
of the
gotten
people.
it yet, but I haven't checked my mail today, so,
So, anyways.
great.
Period from public comment. There is no public here today. Items by trustee. Anybody on this side? Is there a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by, okay, any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That meeting is adjourned at 10:40.